Hi guys, welcome back to episode 2 of this Wildlander Permadeath Run. And in today's episode we're going to be starting off with an apology as the video recording of episode 2 actually corrupted, so this is technically episode 3, but I will explain what we did in the last episode. So we started off with clearing the bandit location next to Whiterun with the free horse. We cleared that location, and then we also cleared Salted Stream Mine, and we got the Spell Tome Knock. And then we sold all the gear that we got from that, and then we bought two empty Grand Soul Gems, one Grand Filled Soul Gem from the merchant in Whiterun next to the stalls, the Trap Sorker Inn. And then we also bought the Spell Tome Soul Trap. We then visited the giants and the mammoths, and we was using Enraging Orb and Soul Trap on faraway mammoths and giants, and they were made to fight each other. And we ended up soul trapping 2 extra soul gems, so we had 3 grand soul gems in total. And we went to Farangar and then enchanted a Magicka hood, a Magicka gloves, and a cloak. So the cloak has shock resistance of 36%, and the hood and the gloves have an extra 64 Magicka per enchantment. So we got 3 decent mid-level items. We also leveled up a bunch, sold all of the gear, and yeah, I don't think we have much gold at this point. So the plan of this episode is to raise gold for our start into Winterhold. So we are going to be entering Winterhold coming into these next few episodes to continue with our mage, but we really need to ensure we have enough gold to improve our gear, constantly keep asking for training from the instructors, and we want to basically experience the mid game as well. So we're just clearing out bandit locations, accepting quests, selling all the gear, upgrading our gear, and gathering gold for our journey. As you do see, we do have a couple of new spell tomes. We did buy a few, did unlock a few. We are level 8. We got 3 points into destruction, 1 into the fire spells, 1 into Apprentice, and 1 into Empowered Elements. So that makes us able to dual cast. 1 skill into Conjuration still, 1 in Restoration, and 3 in Alteration still. So we now have the ability to use fire runes, and we can also dual cast them. The only problem is they still take quite a lot of Magicka that we do have, so we have to be careful. With our High Elf / Apprentice Stone, we are very susceptible to hostile magic, so we are focusing on getting our magic resist up there. But instead of magic resist, we're tending to take fire, shock, and frost resist the way. So each enchantment, a Grand Soul Gem from Farangar, will give us a 36% nullification compared to a 13% of just normal magic. So, and Farangar is only of level 60 enchanting. So once we do visit the person in the Dragonborn DLC he has 100 enchanting, we will be able to improve our gear significantly. I haven't decided if we're actually going to go delve into enchanting. I will be doing some research into to see if there's any more benefit to have 100 enchanting than to just have the guy with 100 enchanting to enchant your gear. If there's not much benefit, we may as well just skip enchanting and focus on our destruction, alteration, restoration, conjuration, and destruction trees, to be honest. So we do have 2 missive quests of kill the bandit leader and collect Farangar's necklace. So we do set out to do those very shortly. But we do have some better gear now. We have the cloak, the boots, the cloak, the hood, and the gloves, right? So that's an extra 128 Magicka, and we have an extra 36% shock resist. I did opt to use shock resist, as shock spells do seem to be the fastest firing spells, so the hardest to dodge. But we will be working towards fire and frost resist items also. So we are going to accept another missive off these guys. So we got the Silent Moon's Camp in Whiterun bounty, So I would say this is probably the second hardest bandit location in Whiterun, and the first being Valtheim Towers. There's also another hard one which you can do with the Alchemy, but that's not really a bandit one, that's the Alchemy. It's pretty hard, but I would still say Valtheim Towers is the hardest by far. There's a bunch of enemies, there's probably like 25 bandits, and they can range. You can either get good RNG where they're quite low level, or you can get bad RNG and they're very high level with good gear. But as a mage character, you can pretty much do a lot. It all depends on if you get hit and you remember your buffs. So yeah. And we did grab the free horse outside Whiterun, and I will show you where we killed the mammoths and giants. We killed 2 mammoths and a giant. We also collected all the fur, their meat, and their animal fat. Well, animal fat, I would say, I think you get maybe 1,400 gold per mammoth you kill just on animal fat. So you get close to 2,000 gold per mammoth you kill. It's a very, very good cash boost. So we pretty much got about 5,000 gold from killing 2 mammoths and a giant, which is very significant, and which we use to pay Farangab to enchant our gear, basically. And like you can see, we've pretty much spent all of our gold, only 1,600 in the bottom right side of the screen. And here is where we actually did kill the mammoths and giants. As you can see, there's not many giants there. I think there's only one, maybe 2 giants. I think there's only 1 giant there, and there's 2 mammoths in the background. So we are traveling to do the missive quests, which will be, I would say, pretty easy. There's these 2 locations are not the hardest. One is just a cave den, and the other is just a small bandit encounter. So this is the first location coming up here. I think it is Redorans Retreat. Is it Redorans Retreat? We will see shortly. It's Redorans Retreat, yes it is. So this is, I think maybe the 3rd or 4th bandit camp we will be taking out now. So starting off, we're just going to make sure all of our buffs are equipped. So we cast all of our buffs, eat all of our stews, drink some potions. We did end up buying a few potions as well of shock, poison, magic, frost and fire resist. We will be taking those if needed. So we just need to make sure all our buffs are done. We got all our stews done, and we're just gonna. I think we casted our mage armor on self outside and empowerment on self outside. Also, we also do have the fire rune spell, which is probably our best DPS spell so far. The runes have a very good DPS. They do cost a lot of magicka, but they pretty much one-shot most bandits we encounter. So I was wondering where the bandits were. They just didn't seem to come out for me, but I did find them in the end. Pretty much just trying to make them run into our fire rune. I didn't see them coming, and the fire rune pretty much one-shots each enemy. But sometimes it bugs and it takes your magicka away and doesn't actually use the spell, which is quite annoying. Like even a single hand will one-shot a low-level light armored enemy. And this guy actually had some cool stuff on him. I pretty much killed everyone in this place. This place is pretty small, to be honest. As you can see, the missive was completed. And as you can see again, we are completely looting this whole place. Not as thorough as before, because we don't really need to like loot cups and stuff now. We got enough gold to survive. We just want to loot the first place or 2 completely to grab everything, to get all the necessary gold needed to continue and get into the early to mid game. I'd say now we're in the I'd say we're in the mid game now. We are level 8 or 9. We have some decent gear. I'd say this is the early to mid game actually. I'd say this is the early to mid game. And we're just fighting bandit encounters. We wouldn't really want to be fighting much more than bandits, to be honest. We can maybe fight some animals, some trolls, as long as they're singular. But we do have the horse now, so we did manage to put most of the items on the horse, so we can actually run around while collecting the gear instead of dagger walking. And like I said, you will probably be used to dagger running in this series, as you can't really run when you're over burden weight. I mean, I don't really think it's too unfair to access your horse inventory from outside. I was wondering why this knock spell wasn't working on this apprentice chest, but it does seem to work in the end. There wasn't really much in there apart from a dwarven mace and 40 gold, which I'll take it all really and sell it. The dwarven mace will probably net me about 150 gold once sold, which is better than nothing, right? So we're going to be doing the next missive quest. We do call our horse to quickly get over there. Having a horse in Skyrim, even in Wildlander, is pretty important due to the fact it helps you carry lots of weight. You can also run, if you ever are in deep trouble, you can get on your horse and quickly run away. I don't think any enemy can really catch you if you're on a horse. I don't even think a dragon can really catch you, because you can just keep going. So the horse pretty much guarantees your survival out in the wild, as long as you don't get off him, because you can trample over pretty much everything. You can trample pretty much everything apart from giants and mammoths. You can trample bandits, any humanoid, any bear, you can trample a troll, pretty much anything apart from a mammoth, giant, and a dragon. So this is the missive quest of collect Farengar's necklace. So we do collect his necklace. We actually do equip his necklace for a little bit, as it's probably the best necklace. We haven't actually got a necklace for the time being, which I did realize at this point. So we're able to so we have 2 slots. So we have not got enchantments on. We got the boots, and we have a necklace that we don't have an enchantment on. Well, we could go to the Mage's College and probably get some pretty good free gear / you can buy some better gear, but I wanted to experience. I didn't want to just head straight over to the Mage's College and do that, to be honest. I wanted to craft my own stuff and just have some fun killing some bandits and leveling up our stats as an adventurer. Like in the Mage's College, we would be spending most of our time doing spell research and training, and maybe some missive quests from Urag. Like the main quests are pretty hard in the Mage's Guild. We kind of want to level up before. It's kind of a mid-game quest line, to be honest. Like all of the guilds are kind of mid-game quest lines. They're all pretty decent leveled. But like I said, we did want to get a lot of gold before we did enter the Mage's College in general, as we want to be able to power through a little bit and make sure we can afford training every single level that we get. Pay for training on all of our mage schools, and then upgrade our gear and continue. I don't know how far we'll be able to go into the main quest line. We will get a little bit into it, but we will mostly be doing Shalador's Insights, as a lot of the places he will lead us to will contain ruined books, and we need the ruined books to do spell craft tomes and scrolls, so we can sell and basically level up a lot. So we are at Silent Moon's camp, which is probably one of the hardest. It's one of the hardest in Whiterun. It has the main boss, who is like level 30, has shock arrows, and he has the bouncer, which is a pretty good weapon. But as you can see, we're pretty much making light work of these enemies with our destruction spells, with Firebolt dual-cast and Fire Runes dual-cast. And yeah, we have all of our buffs up, so we're pretty safe against like low level bandits, unless they're two-handers that are coming straight for us. Mostly what we got to watch out for is magic at the moment, because we can pretty much dodge any one-handed or two-handed foe, and we blur pretty much negates all arrows. So all we really got to watch out for is enchanted weapons and magical spells. So people with bandits with scrolls, or even any with a stave, will be very harmful to us. So we do end up using Raise Dead on one of the low level bandits. And yeah, so this is probably one of the hardest places, bandit locations in Whiterun. And as you'll see here, there's a level 30 enemy with Bouncer. But with level 35, Ron the Crow, we pretty much kill him with 2 fire runes, which is pretty insane. I'm normally struggling with him for like 10 minutes on top of the roof, firing arrows at him, or he is normally a very hard enemy to kill. I normally do kind of rush into him though, like a level 3, level 4. I know because I'm normally playing by myself, but I have took time to level up and get some good gear in this run. Like, we may not be doing meta, but we are doing we are doing what anyone can do in this run. We're not really getting any unique items as of yet. We will be looking into some unique items in the future, but I want to just experience the low to mid game with items anyone can really achieve. So we will be looking into unique items into the future, but just not of now. So we do get not really much in this chest. A translation tome and the spell research for scholars we will be using, but nothing else really that much useful in that chest. So we had to sign Dagger Run as well, because that's what you gotta do when you're full on carry weight, right? And the missive quest is actually inside the location. I'm not too sure if you can actually get, you can actually clear it out twice. I think you can, but I always just clear it out all in one go normally. Like there's not too much reward for actually completing the bounty. You get 400 or 500 gold, which is not really that much. The more important things is finding the unique items there, killing the enemies for experience, and getting all their items. Just finding all the items you get for completing the area, because as you can see I have a lot of items on my person, which I will be selling at Whiterun, and which will give me a couple of thousand gold in these free bandit locations I have taken out. So it's even worth taking. I just take everything basically. I just press R and pick up everything off the enemies, because it would take longer to look through what I want to take to sell than to actually just take everything. So even selling like the cloaks is worth it, because I think you maybe get like 30 to 40 gold per cloak, and you kill 15 enemies. That's about 450 gold around, I think, if it was 30 gold a piece. So it's pretty. It does add up. It does add up. With only one perk in speech, we are getting a little bit more gold per sell on every item we do achieve. But now we are in the easier part of this dungeon, which we will have no trouble doing. We are sufficiently, we're very good, well equipped for content like this now. That's like after the first episode, I pretty much I skipped a lot of the boring things, got Blur and Alteration to level 35 and 25 respectively, so we could be able to skip into the mid game. On episode 2, which we did miss, I did say we did enchant some gear and get a horse. So you did miss about an hour of content, but I did try to explain it my best. And what I like to do here is use the fear spell on this enemy, and if the enemy will run away and open the door for you, which is pretty cool. If you're not a mage character, you can just make him very weak, make him basically run away, and he will open that door for you. I don't know what level the door is, but I think it might be a depth which we wouldn't have been able to open for free. So there's an adept chest here, and in the previous, I don't know if we bought the scrolls as of yet. Oh, we just got our open for free. That was nice because the conjure muscles on self. You're able to bash open some locks, and that was an adept lock, and it's pretty crazy how we was able to bash open an adept lock. So yeah, and I don't think we have bought any scrolls of knock yet. We do invest in some in the future, in this episode, I think, and yeah, we do invest in some in this episode to open some more chests in the future. So this part is sped up now. This part is me just going back to Whiterun, selling all my gear, and then pretty much selling all my gear, because I pretty much just take it all off the horse, sell it all, and then you'll be able to see my gold in the bottom right. So at the moment we have about 2,000 gold, and you probably will see it go up quite a lot during this trip. We cleared out 3 locations, 2 bandit locations and 1 small little location, and then we completed 3 missives, I think. So we're going to be able to turn in 3 quests also. Here we are, just taking all the items off the horse, and as you can see in the bottom right corner of the screen, we have about 750 carry weight, which is a lot of things to sell. And just putting the things back on the horse that we don't really want to sell by accident. Things like the 10 enchanted items that we want to use the tongs to research on. Even though we won't be delving into enchanting, we will be using the tongs to we'll be learning about the enchanted items, because it does raise your enchanted skill. It also increases your knowledge with spell research, so you can further create more spells to create. And then we did accept a missive from Amren, which is get his sword from a bandit location, which doesn't really offer you much of a reward, just 1 level in one-handed and 1 level in shields, which is blocking. And we did give the gold to that beggar, which increases your it fortifies your persuasion, so you get more money per sell. And here we are, just having a bathe for free in outside Dragon's Reach. But we are dagger running again. Like I said, you will get used to it. But this part is sped up by 2.5 times, which I might speed up more, like I did say in the last episode. But yeah, we are just selling everything now. Like I did say, this episode and the next episode is pretty much us gearing up to undertake Winterhold and its quest around it. We will, so after this episode and the next episode, we are going to be leaving Whiterun and pretty much heading over to Winterhold. We will be delving into the survival, crafting fires, sleeping out in the open, doing some quests around their bandit locations, wherever we find we're adequately enough to deal with. And we will be heading through the Mages College Guild also. We will be doing as much as we can. But as an ultimate mage character, we will be focusing on our mage skills. So we pretty much need some more alteration. Alteration is I'd probably say is one of the most significant things as a mage, as the mage armor on self is pretty significant. And here we are actually getting a 10% resistance to hostile magic through the Alteration skill tree. So I think that caps at 30% with 3 skill points in it. But 10% hostile magic for 1 skill point, I think is very much worth it. And here we are entering, this is the place where we bought the soul gems from. And sometimes this place is bugged out. I don't really know how to fix it. Even if you just unlock it, it doesn't fix it because he's not there. But this guy is very buggy, to be honest. He's not the most reliable. But I was lucky in this playthrough to have him actually be not bugging out, and he was home most of the time. We're just buying some spells. Like, I know most of the spells you can either make or you get from leveling up, But if I get them from, if I just buy them and not level, you get them through leveling up, then I'll be able to unlock different spells as I level my skill trees up. So I'm just looking at what to buy. There's nothing really much to buy. I will actually remember to pick up Summon Skeletal Hero in the future. I have heard it is one of the best Apprentice level conjurations. But I normally always go for Spectral Warhound, as I normally do prefer ones that will just get into combat as soon as possible. But yeah, I think we will be using a lot of necromancy to be honest in the Conjuration skill tree. Like we will be until we get to Fire Atronachs anyway. I think it's around level 50 Conjuration. As the Raised Dead is a lot better than Familiars until you're on the Fire Atronach level, in my opinion. So here we are, just selling a lot of gear to Bellafor, also selling our food, some random potions, just selling anything we basically do not need. So we pretty much went from 750 carry weight to about 100 again. So, and we also have 9,000 gold after buying some things as well. Pretty much putting on our horse anything that we don't need to carry on our person. So we're lowest on carry weight. Our carry weight 59 out of 240. I think our carry weight is also buffed by our spell, and we are going to turn in free quests. So we will be turning in 2 bounties here and returning Farangar's item also.
Come to Dragon's Reach to discuss the ongoing. Thank you. Here, this is for you. I had you figured for a mage.
And I think here we do buy a glass embellic, and we do buy some scrolls. Because as with our knock spell, we can only open up to an apprentice chests. So we've bought 4 knock scrolls and 1 knock higher scroll, which allow us to open 4 adept chests and 1 expert or lower chest also. So just in case we notice any chests that are adept or expert, we have the means to open them now. And we do buy the heal self spell also, just so we have it unlocked instead of using, because you're able to unlock 2 spells per level up in each score, right? When you go to apprentice, adept, expert and master, you can unlock 2 spells in each. I don't know about master, but I know you can unlock 2 spells in each of the others. But we just bought the spell to learn it, so we could be able to unlock a different spell in the future.
Remember, your mind is the best weapon you have.
So we completed all 3 missives there. We got a lot of gold from the bounties. As you can see, we did buy a few things, and now we're on about 6,600 gold. We're doing okay on gold, but to really power it into the Mage's College, I do want around 20,000 to 30,000 gold. As soon as you get to about level 35 in the skill trees, the training really does start to cost quite a lot, and you will end up spending 20,000 gold on 5 levels of training, to be honest. And then we did collect another bounty for Valtheim Towers. So like I did say in these 2 episodes, in this episode and the next episode, we're pretty much just clearing out locations and getting lots of gold, upgrading our gear, and just pretty much getting the gold required that I want, that I feel is adequate to continue on to the Mage's Guild. So we have 2 missives here: the kill the bandit leader located in Valtheim Towers, and find Amron's sword in White River Watch. So pretty much White River Watch is a pretty easy place to do, and then the Valtheim Towers, like I said, is probably the hardest bandit location in Whiterun. If I'm not mistaken, if there's any harder ones, you could probably say if you wanted to, but I'm pretty sure that's the hardest one we have in Whiterun. So we're on our way to go to Valtheim Towers and White River Watch. I think we do White River Watch first. I was not going to attempt Valtheim Towers as of yet. Like as I was playing this, I didn't really want to attempt it. But once I completed White River Watch, I thought, I may as well do it. I think we'll be able to do it, and we did. Well, I'll wait till we get there, but I had a lot of fun doing Valtheim Towers this time around. Normally, I'm not playing permadeath, and I do die a bunch of times. So, because I'm normally a little bit less geared here, I've probably only got robes, no hood with enchantments, no gloves with enchantment, no ring. I mean, we have a ring. I'm probably attempting it with just the magica ring, to be honest, and probably like level 4 or 5. But during then, I'm not playing permadeath, so I can pretty much cheese it a little bit and reload every time I die. But in this permadeath run, we are pretty much we will be preparing for each location we do and for each type of content we do. So for example, we're doing the bandit location now, which you don't need too much preparation for, but once you start getting into different type of content like Draga, you need to prepare for mages, you need to prepare for automatons, you need to prepare for Falmer. It's pretty much you need to be prepared for the higher level enemies. Like the bandits are low to mid game content, like low to mid game, I would say. They're pretty much, you don't really, bandit content isn't really much of the mid game. Mid game is more of a mid game. I don't really know. Mid game is kind of more like mages, quest line enemies, bosses, and then mid game is the Dwemer, I would say, the automatons, the Falmer, mages, right? And then I would say the end game is more situated for the DLC, such as Dawnguard and Dragonborn. And then we also have vampire content also, which vampire content is also one of the hardest enemies in the game. We have dragon content. I would say mammoths and giants kind of do locate into the mid game. They're not really that much of a trouble for a mage in the late game. Yeah, they probably are maybe a late game. They're a mid to late game for a lot of other characters because they have a high DPS. But that's pretty much my thoughts on the mid to late game and how you need to prepare for it in a permadeath. But we are in White River Watch now, and if you didn't know, that guy is actually blind. So we did actually raise dead a saber cat right outside, which is going to be very significant to us in this dungeon. As you'll see, he does some work on these enemies. Like I said, the FPS issue is pretty much solved in this episode now. The only problem is, when I do play by myself without recording, I am on ultra graphics and ultra shaders and the lot, without much FPS drop in my game as from my POV. But once I do switch over to my recordings POV, it does seem like it just drops too many frames. It just does not work correctly. I don't know why. If there's any tips you could send me, then it would be pretty appreciated. But we are still gonna get on into this run. So I do notice that guy has either a scroll or a stave, or he's actually a magic caster. So I do actually take the potion of resist shock, because like I said, as a high elf and the apprentice stone, we are very susceptible to hostile magical effects. So we're just pretty much waiting. I thought the magical caster was still alive, but I think he might have died to the... I think he did die. As you can see, we're pretty much bossing this bandit location, not without much trouble really, which we will do in most situations as a mage caster. As long as you have your buffs open, your buffs up, and you are paying attention, bandit locations as a mage should be pretty easy. It's when you more get to people that do fire back at you with magical items as a mage, really. Once you start getting to vampire content, that's when you really need to pay attention as a mage. So even though we do have the blur spell on, I did notice this guy was level 24, so he probably has some very nice perks into archery. So I did want to make sure I was trying to bob and weave this guy. Even though I do have the blur open, he can hit me. So I did notice blur actually did run out there, so I did kind of get scared, but he did decide to run away. So I was able to kill him without much trouble. And we will be looting this place completely after we've cleared it out also. So we do repop the blur spell. And outside here will be the bandit leader, which is the missive locator. So this is the guy we need to go to complete the missive. But as a mage, you shouldn't really have much trouble one-on-one with most of the enemies in the game, apart from the higher end content, of course. Even in the mid game one-on-one, you're pretty much fine. As long as they're not ranged, you're pretty much fine. If they haven't got any ranged attacks, you can just run and weave the whole way, as you have very good stamina without any armor on. So here we are just waiting for our magicka to regenerate. I am just being cautious of this enemy, just in case he is a high level enemy. So yeah. So here he is. He doesn't even do summon the spirit wall. He pretty much goes down in one fire rune, I think. Yeah, he goes down in one fire rune. Fire rune is completely balanced. So we do end up taking everything. I do show you some things we do acquire. We acquire some adept regeneration robes, some staffs. We only I think we sell all the staffs apart from the Fury staff, because the Fury staff can be okay in bandit locations. But we do decide to equip the adept regeneration robes instead of the restoration robes. The restoration robes provided 150% magicka regeneration and 12% restoration decrease in restoration spells. But the adept gives us 200% magicka regeneration, which is quite a lot more. I know it does say 50% more regeneration, but it doesn't really work like that. For everything that gives you the same buff, they all add up together, and it's some weird calculation. I don't know how really it works, but it's not a flat 50% increase, as we've already got a lot of other buffs. But in this place, in White River Watch, there is a few ruined books, which we do want to get, as we can turn them into paper rolls, and we do not have to buy or make any more paper rolls if we get the ruined books. So everywhere we go with this ruined books, we will be looting all the ruined books. So we pretty much are looting literally everything off these persons, pretty much clearing out the whole cave of ruined books. And yeah, we're going to be putting it all onto our horse, so we're able to move freely. This is why having a horse is one of the most significant things in Wildlander. I know we are accessing our horse from not next to him using the hotkey, but it's not really much of a balance issue, because well, you can just call him and bring him to you. It's just really a quality of life issue, really, in my opinion. Doesn't really affect gameplay. So we do have our horse behind us, nice. And then we are going to go over to Valtheim Towers, and I was pretty wary of completing Valtheim Towers, but I was pleasantly surprised how the experience went during this run. I don't think I've prepared this much as a mage for bandit content, really. I normally just dive straight into it and just die a few times and just reload my save, you know. I have done a few permadeath runs, but not as a mage yet. So I kind of know a lot about the mages, but I haven't really done a permadeath run as a mage yet. So preparation is key as any character during a permadeath run. Really, I do notice a saber cat here, so I think I do kill the saber cat and then raise dead on him, as saber cats are only like level 6, as I don't really know why, but because they're one of the toughest enemies in the game, in my opinion. Like they can really kill you, like even in the mid game, if you just don't really notice them, to be honest. So we do raise dead on the saber cat, and I think the spell will last for 5 minutes now. I think it only lasts for 1 minute actually, as we haven't increased our Conjuration skill. As like we did say, we did focus on Illusion and Alteration in the start. We haven't really done much. I don't think we've done any spell research since the first episode. So our magical skills are not only really leveling up based on our use of them, and we have been focusing on just pretty much getting gold and getting our gear up, not really leveling up our skills. But I would say we're doing pretty well for our gear as of the moment. We're on, maybe this is probably like hour 4, and we've got pretty good gear, and we really are preparing pretty well to do content such as this. So we just before we enter any combat, we do try to make sure we have all of our buffs up. And as you can see, there's a lot of enemies just right here, and one fire room will pretty much kill every enemy. We can see the saber cat also doing a lot of work in this area. So if you ever are a mage and want a good low level raise dead thrall, you should be using a saber cat. He's got very good speed, very good health, very good damage. It's probably one of the best thralls in my opinion. And he is only level 6, so you're able to cast him pretty much with any. I think with raise dead level 1. I think I have leveled up. No, I haven't even leveled up my necromancy, I don't think. As you can see, there's a few enemies in this area, but with the saber cat and the fire run, he was able to make quick work of the starting portion of this area. And the raised dead, like I did say, it's a lot better than the early level astronauts or familiars or whatever you want to call them. So I do tend to go with thralls. So I did raise dead on a random bandit, which will be helping me throughout this until he dies or the 61 seconds are up. Pretty much just making sure your buffs are always up, and pretty much using fire run and firebolt on these enemies. And I did notice there's not. I don't know if there's any splash damage with fire run, but I didn't notice any, and that was pretty close. So this is what you want to be doing as a mage. You want to just be running around, making sure you're never directly in front of an enemy or directly taking damage. You just want to be always on the move. And we did notice here there was so many enemies, and I did get shot by an arrow, so I was actually pretty scared at this point in time. I thought maybe, wow, we've bit off more than we can chew trying to do Valtheim Towers. I did say it probably is the hardest bandit location in Whiterun. You just place a fire rune at the door, and now see the spiker gets 2 shot by the fire rune. Pretty balanced. I think it's only an apprentice level spell. It's very strong. We also do have one perk into fire like magic, which increases damage done by fire spells by 15%, I think. So that might be something to take into account. And we're pretty much just cleaning up these low level bandits now, and we will be looting this whole place thoroughly. So during our time out of Whiterun, we We're going to be completing 2 bandit locations, returning and selling all the gear. We're just being very cautious while completing this. As it is permadeath, you just want to be very cautious while completing these parts. As if you don't have Blur on, you're very susceptible to arrows. I probably would get one shot by a crossbow. Maybe not a bow and arrow if the character was a low level, but a crossbow, they do significantly more damage than a bow and arrow. So we are just going to be looting this whole place. And I did notice there's one more guy here. I don't know why he wasn't in the main fight. I think there's actually 2 more guys I have not killed in this part. But the fire orb or firebolt spell is actually very good as well. I was surprised how good it was, because in most versions of Skyrim, people just normally just spam fire sparks because it does the most DPS. But in this, I've always just spammed fire sparks just like on and off to remake the fire damage go on them. But in Wildlander and Ultimate Skyrim, it is worth it actually to use different spells other than just fire sparks. So we do have the knock spell, of course, to open some novice and apprentice chests. There is an enemy still around. I don't even know where he is. I don't really care at this point because I just can't find him. But he is actually upstairs. I just ran past here, right? I don't know if I saw him. I must be blind, or he either just spawned out of the wall. But we are going to be looting this whole place fully. So this is an adept chest, and we do have the scrolls of knock. But I actually made a mistake here. I used 2 scrolls instead of 1. The first scroll didn't seem to open it, and so I used a second scroll. If the first scroll doesn't seem to open it in the future, I'm just going to be using the command to unlock it, because it's not really fair I have to use 2 scrolls to unlock the chest. I will, if the first scroll does fail, I will be using the command to just open the chest in the future, because that cost us 2 scrolls, which is maybe about 500 gold, which is quite a lot really. And we just pretty much loot everything in this place, all the enemies. We get all their gear from them. Even though we won't be using most of the gear, we will be selling a lot of the gear. And this part is in sped up mode by 2.5 times also. So I just speed up the times where it's kind of tedious, but you can also still follow along. I kind of want to show what I'm doing. You can obviously skip past this point if you'd really like, but I would like to show it anyway, just to show you what it is like in a permadeath run. The process you need to really do to gear yourself for a permadeath run, really. We pretty much get everything off them, and we have 876 carry weight, and that is not including our horse, who is probably close to max carry weight. And we do actually decide to bathe here to make it so we don't have to bathe in Whiterun. I think if you do bathe with soap, it does actually make you cleaner, which will in turn give you a better buff to speech. But I don't really care too much about that. We already put the skill point into speech. I already was debating whether or not to put the skill point into speech, as it does really significantly increase the amount of gold you get per item. It makes things from 0 gold go to like 4 or 5 gold at like level 60, 70 speech. It's pretty insane. So increases your the barter rates, and increases the so say something's worth 10 gold and you have level 10 speech and you have the first point, it increases it by 1% every speech level you have, so that item will be now worth 11 gold. So and now you are level 50, that item is now worth 50% more, so it will be worth 15 gold. And then you get to level 80 and everything's worth 80% more gold. It's pretty wild really, because considering you you'll have look how much inventory space I have here. I have 1,400 worth of carry weight worth to sell, and my character only really carries about 40-50 carry weight, so I have about 1,300 carry weight worth to sell, which will give me a lot of gold. But that's why I really was debating whether or not to put this a perk into speech. I did decide to put it in there anyway, as I have gone through a few runs without it, and the training is quite a bother if you do that, because you even if you do sell your potions and you sell your tomes, you really are getting significantly less per item sold. And in previous iterations, or sometimes it's a bug. Oh, so that's weird. They both had a full inventory in this case. So yeah, if you do in Whiterun, you can. Both of these guys have a full inventory, so they have about 4,000 gold each, which is pretty nice. And as you can see, we have about 12,000 gold now in the bottom right, which is a pretty penny, right? That's kind of how you really get a lot of gold as a mage, to be honest, and during bandit locations. Because as a like I did say in the last episode, if you are trying to go into smithing, you will be taking a lot of these items and just turn them into metal, and then re-smelting them and turn them into metal again, and so just to level up your smithing. Whereas a mage, you don't really need any of that, so you can completely just sell everything, and you can get a lot of gold. This is like that's why I did say the missives and the quest rewards are not really not really that significant, because we will be getting thousands upon thousands of gold for completing each dungeon we do, as we will be just completely looting everything basically off all the enemies. And then we are just selling all our gear now.
Pardon me, so you're interested in my potions and ingredients?
Selling some food. And like you can see now, our speech is already level 38 or 39. Just from selling all of this gear. So if you are trying to level up your speech craft as well, you do what I'm doing, and your gold and your speech will be flying up. We're on episode 3. This is technically episode 3, and our gold is flowing up, right? Like I did apologize for missing episode 2, but like I did say, the file got corrupted. So we are nearing the end of the episode now. I think we're just looking at our skill trees, just things. We're deciding what we want to do in the future. So we do take improved mage armor, which increases mage armor on self by a certain percent if you have no armor on. And we are looking at this guy because in the next episode we will be enchanting our boots and a necklace. So we will be taking on either 2 giants or a mammoth and a giant, or 2 mammoths, depending on what we see. So I will be showing what you can do to kill a mammoth at this type of level. We did show an easier way to kill a giant and a mammoth in the last episode, but the save file got corrupted. Like I said, you can use the Enraging Orb spell if 2 mammoths or 2 giants are close enough together, and as long as you are far enough away, they will not detect you, and they will pretty much fight each other until they die. And then you can use the soul trap on them once you see their health back pretty low, and then you have a false grand soul gem, which is very nice. So this is the end of the episode now. I'm just going to be showing you the mage armor himself buff on us now, which is 61 points for 230 seconds, which is pretty nice. But this is the end of the episode, and we will be continuing our adventure of Nezar, the Master Wizard, in the next episode. Thanks for watching.